hockey. Yeah.
My favorite. It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Indeed, it is Judd's Hockey Show. We are recording this on the morning of Friday, February 7th. Why is that significant? Because it marks exactly 1 month since the Wild had won a home game. They won January 7th against St. Louis, and then it took them nearly another month until they won on Thursday night in what was a game that we'll talk about here in a second, 2-1 over the Carolina Hurricanes. But here's what I want. I want to tell you, Sports Dad wants to tell you to celebrate. And how? With popcorn, the best locally popped fresh popcorn and fudge on the planet. And right now, limited edition, we'll show them here, Kirill Kaprizov and Marc-Andre Fleury 1-gallon popcorn tins, which are absolutely awesome. Enjoy your favorite popcorn products in these tins right there for only $26 and get refills on standard flavors for only $8. You can also win, get this, Wild Sweet tickets to the March 13th game against the Rangers. Come into their store in Minnetonka, scan the QR code, or if you're outside the metro, go to popcorn.com/pages/mn-wild. That's popcorn.com/pages/mn-wild. Popcorn has your favorite sports team's tins as well as more than 80 flavors by the bag. I've sampled it. It's fantastic. Now, the Kaprizov and Fleury tins only around while supplies last, so check them out. Popcorn.com. That's Popped again, corn.com. Or give them a call. The Minnetonka store. The number is 952-452-8808 and win those cool sweet tickets to that game against the Rangers in a month in which the Wild is going to be home a ton, the month of March. And that's important, Age, because my first takeaway from a 2-1 win against the Hurricanes last night, which was, by the way, it's not like the Wild came out and played this sexy style, but they scored for the first time in 2+ games, which was incredibly important.
Absolutely.
They got very solid goaltending. They did a good job, the block shots, blah, blah, blah. I felt that this was as close to a replica of a Wild road game when they're playing well. Now, they had lost 2 straight, but before that, they started off a 5-game road trip with 3 consecutive wins. I felt that what they did last night for the first time in a long time was they replicated how they play on the road when they're playing well, but they finally did it in downtown St. Paul.
Yeah, and they controlled the game, I felt like, for most of it. It was a very strong start to the game for the Hurricanes. I think they finished that first period with 15 or 16 shots. The Wild, it was either 5 or 6. And I was like, oh boy, they got lucky. I can see how the rest of this game is going to go. But then they really kind of settled in and they played the game that we have come to find familiar on the road. They were getting the puck to the front. They were getting the puck in. There was a lot of times where I was saying out loud to myself, just get the puck deep. Why are we stick handling at the blue line? This is causing offsides. This is causing turnovers. But that kind of went away halfway through the game. So I'll give them the credit for eventually fixing that major mistake. I personally like to see when they shoot the puck from just all around. Once again, their shot map, their chance map was right on top of the crease. So they were testing Freddie Anderson last night. Mm-hmm. They were getting right up and close to him, but it ended up working out. They ended up getting the win despite some very, very late game heroics by the Hurricanes, but they were able to fend them off and pick up in a very important 2 points. And I think, to your point from the other day, I thought you needed 3. You said, no, give me 4. They're halfway there for this homestand before the big 4 Nations face-off break. So now it comes down to Saturday and see if they can lock up those other 2.
So, yeah, in the first period, the Hurricanes outshot the Wild 15-7. The one thing that stood out was I feel like a lot of those shots when the period was done had come from the outside a bit. So, and Gus played well. Gus played really well. Mm-hmm. It was actually the second period where the shots were even at 10-10 that the Hurricanes, I think, had some 2-on-1s and some good chances. But for the most part, again, after what we've seen in the 4 consecutive home defeats, like, I'll take that last night. I'll take that performance. I don't need them to, I need them to play what I would consider to be sort of a grimy game, especially without Kirill. Like, I need them to play like that. I need them to, and yes, there are definitely faults, and there's definitely times that guys still try to get too cute. But that being said, I also felt that they got a lot of the elements that they're capable of getting, and they have gotten a lot of times on the road, not at at home. Let's start with what we called for. I think it was the last time that we did a show together a couple days ago, which was line juggling, but not like massive juggling, not like you don't have to shake it up, just tweaks.
Yeah.
We saw them. In fact, I think we saw almost everyone that we requested.
Yeah.
Rossi went back with Boldy and Zuccarello, which again, I like way more because then that bumps Eck down, but that's okay because it puts him in a position to be in a line where I almost feel like talent-wise, and again, remember, Kaprizov is the X factor here. Anyone on a line with Kaprizov is better. So like the Boldy Zuccarello line, that can be really good. I'm not saying it can't be, but it's not necessarily going to raise you up. And so I feel like Eriksson Ek in this case, although there's times he's good with Boldy, is better on the second line. And then Eureka, Ohgren gets put on the second line. Now Johansson moved to the right side, if I'm not mistaken. And then because poor Jacob Lauko cannot stay healthy, he is back on IR. It sounds like the groin again. I'm not sure, but I think it's the groin again. And so Trenin was demoted, and that's where I want to start. Scored the first goal. It is incredible. If you scratch him or demote him, his first game back, or his first game after that, he's going to give you everything he's got. And he scored that goal last night, and I thought he played okay.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I think that those tweaks were absolutely essential to, and they just scored 2 goals, so I'm not too excited here, but I thought they were absolutely essential to at least unearthing some offense again after 2 consecutive games being shut up.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, despite the goal scorers being Yakov Trenin, let that sink in for a second, and Vinny Hinostroza that had been with the team for all of 5 minutes, and that was a weird goal. So yes, he gets credited with the goal, but I wouldn't say that he necessarily like beat Freddie Anderson with a wrist shot. It was like a weird kind of plinko. It fell off him. They had to review it. The horn didn't even go off in the building. They didn't know they scored, except for Marcus Foligno, who said, "Yeah,
Foligno might have pushed Freddie with the puck. Like that easily could have been a whistle too.
It could have.
I mean,
it was never covered, so that was the only like weird thing. But that doesn't matter. But the thing is, with these tweaks, they were generating more offense. It felt like at all times. The fourth line with their new line mate there in Trenin, actually, I thought looked pretty good, replacing Lauko. Definitely a less strong skater, but bigger physically. And to your point, being scratched, he had a chip on his shoulder. He's showing that he's got to come out and
just
be
demoted here.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he wasn't even scratched.
No, he's not. But it drives me crazy that every time you like are like, okay, you got one skate in the press box, Yakov. He's like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna give you everything I got. It drives me nuts.
And on that goal, I am one of my little pleasures watching the Wild is watching Marat Khusnutdinov skate up ice. Yeah. He's very silky, and that is, to his credit, mainly 90% of that work was his goal because he kind of had a chip. He beat a guy. I think he beat Chatfield just in a foot race. Nice spin around a pass, and Trenin. Granted, he went between the 5-hole of Anderson. I think he could have just gone to the continued on his path, and he would have had half the goal open. So he made it maybe harder than he needed to be. But I'm not going to be critical about that. Vinny Hinostroza gets a goal. But the top 2 lines also, that Swedish line, that ABBA line of Ohgren, Eriksson Ek, and Johansson, they looked decent at times. Ohgren had, I think, multiple chances where he put it on a silver platter for Marcus Johansson, who just could not finish. And then
I was shocked by that, by the way. Shocked.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure we're all clutching our pearls at that one. And then Boldy, Rossi, Zuccarello. You kind of know what you get there. I think they all look to the key word that we bring up every once in a while. They looked engaged. Matt Boldy, I think at times looked a little more into the play. I don't know if he necessarily got the crap beat out of him like you requested the other day, but I think he was more he went to the front of the net a lot more to take those bumps and bruises. Marco Rossi, I thought, looked all right besides the penalty that he took. And Zuccarello was Zuccarello, kind of par for the course for him. I feel like from top to bottom there, things look good, and they shored up defensively better than what I think we have seen at home previously too. They didn't allow the Canes to have massive chance after massive chance out front. They allowed a couple here and there, obviously, but to your point, the shots came from out wide, low chance along the perimeter, especially in the first. So it was high volume, but not necessarily high chance.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I didn't look, but I'm guessing that the Wild very well might have had as many or more high danger chances because of your point about where their shots came from. And Gustafsson, though, played the type of game that you had to have. I mean, Carolina, if that's a Gus off night, Carolina wins the game. So I'm not trying to say that they don't, but it's nice to see him now with the confidence up. Khusnutdinov, too. So here's my thing. In watching him pretty closely from the press box last night, and this does not mean he's perfect. This does not mean he does not make mistakes. He still does at times. But the confidence is oozing from that young man. The confidence that that guy is playing with. That play, that feed to Trenin, of all people. I mean, that was a big league play. That was a hell of a play. And it's so funny because I don't know if he got a talking to or like a really positive reinforcement sit down from John Hynes or somebody, but something's changed here. Like somebody said, you are too good to be playing like this. And I don't know if they sat him down with the advanced metrics that you've talked about before, but whatever it was, like he's gone from being a guy that I thought took too much heat, but certainly wasn't playing his best, to playing like a guy who looks confident. He's playing like a guy now who looks like he wants a line promotion. Like he looks like a guy. As soon
as Trenin gets put on your wing, you're like, ugh, I probably should try to get a promotion.
Yeah, I probably should get out off this line.
Him and I think Ohgren are one and the same in that sense, where you can see when their confidence is very much present. Ohgren, I think, has been climbing up, and I'm sure we'll talk about him at some point here. But Khusnutdinov, that's why, like, I love the metrics and I love kind of seeing the underlying analytics of things, but also like the eye test reigns supreme all the time. And I think eye test wise, you can tell he has the skating skill and the tools are like there a lot of the time, but he hasn't really been putting it together. Like he's been trying to hammer in a screw, into wood instead of using the drill. Last night he took the drill out. You could see that he has been now. The hands have kind of come into play. He's bringing the puck through neutral ice a lot smoother and cleaner. The zone entry for him, he has that quick recognition of, can I skate it myself? Or do I, with my speed already built up, should I chip it around the defender and beat him in a foot race so then I can generate something down low? The IQ is there. The skating is there. We saw the playmaking come into play last night. We have seen a lot of times this season, though, where with that normal fourth line, Lauko and Shore, he's been set up with really good opportunities up front. So the scoring touch, I think, is the next thing to really, I would like to see come forward. But right now, if he's going to be a 3-4 tool guy on the fourth line, I'm fine with that. And I mean, he's playing, like you said, like a third line job. And this is where we've talked about this before. And you've made an excellent point about this. In the coming year or two, he's probably a guy that climbs up to that third line as like if somebody gets hurt, he maybe moves up more. Hopefully he continues to progress with, because he's only 22, and they talked about this on the ESPN broadcast last night. I have some gripes with them about certain things that happened during the broadcast, but
good.
But yes, Marat Khusnutdinov, young, promising. I like his game. Hopefully he continues on this path of progress as the season draws on.
On the aforementioned Ohgren, it's interesting here. The stat sheet, he played 13 minutes last night. The most impressive thing, the block shots. And by the way, the Wild blocked 23 shots. The Panthers, the Canes blocked 11. But Ohgren he tied for the team lead with a handful of guys with 3. And so it's stuff like that where I think he's making strides. He definitely looks more confident. And I do think that the idea to give him the second line there, the left wing, is a productive move. Like we'll see here. It might work, it might not. But it's definitely, to me, among the things, because he feels like a guy where if you can unlock him scoring a bit, it's going to come in droves more so. But I do like the fact that, when you look at the block shots, you get You get 3 from Boldy last night. How about that? And you get 3 from Goudreau. You get 3 from Ohgren. I like that as well because, to go back to the term engagement, to me, what that shows is engagement in the game. So I would like to see him get another chance on Saturday at the X against the Islanders on that second line, just to see playing with a bit more skill if that starts to come as far as the scoring potential.
Yeah, and when you look at his time on ice here, he's only, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm looking at moneypuck.com. I know you have the official XL Energy scorekeeper stats here, but he recorded, I think, 13:01 of time on ice, which falls behind Foligno, Johansson, Bogosian, Chisholm, Rossi, Goudreau, Spurgeon, blah, 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 and some of the usual suspects. But he's only a minute above like a Khusnutdinov, 2 minutes above Hinostroza, 2 minutes above Trenin. I think you can reward him with a little more time on ice. I think he has shown that he deserves to be out there in maybe higher key situations, start in the offensive zone if that top line is tired. If he gets 15 plus minutes on Saturday, I would be very happy with that. And I think he's earned a little more time. This is what we've seen, I think, too, with Rossi, where they were kind of like, okay, how much of the reins can we actually give you? We want to keep you around that 15, 16 mark. And now last night he was at 17, 16. We've seen him eclipse 20 minutes at times already this season when they really needed him to step up. I think you can say, Liam Ohgren, we recognize you're playing a lot better. You're looking more comfortable in an NHL setting. We can give you 15 plus minutes and you're not going to, crash the ship.
Right. All right. What was your thought on the Jackson Blake penalty shot being awarded? I feel like, so Faber definitely deserved a penalty.
Yes.
There's no question about that. He impeded his progress. And I'm not trying to be a homer here. And actually, if I'm a team in 2025, I'll take the penalty shot against,
especially if you're the
Wild.
Yeah.
So I actually think it helps. But I watched that play live and then watched it on replay a couple of times and thought, I have seen so much worse not awarded a penalty shot. Like if the penalty shot is supposed to be you are unimpeded or you are basically going to get a grade A chance, and you've broken away and the guy stops you, that's a penalty shot. I looked at that and I said that comes about as far away from what I would have awarded a penalty shot for as you can possibly get.
Here's the thing about that, because they had, I was at home last night watching the game, so I had the ESPN Plus feed up, and Dave Jackson, their rules analyst, official expert,
former referee,
he is he's their Dean Blandino essentially.
Yes,
but he came on and was like, that by definition of the rule, he got a step on him, and I don't think we award enough penalty shots in the league. I think now that's 20 on the year for the entire league at this point of the season. Here's the thing about it. Either A, that is the correct call, and they get that call wrong across the league 90% of the time, or that was incorrectly called. Because from my understanding, you have to have a clear step on the last defender, like a very clear step. Brock Faber came in from the side of him, and
yes.
And that's it. He did not have a clear step.
No.
And hit the Dave Jackson explanation was, he eventually he positions himself so he's fully behind him, and that's where the reach in comes into play. So that's where the step comes. But that has never been called like that. Granted, it worked out for the Wild, so I'm not like sitting here fuming about this decision today. Yeah. But that to me was the wrong call, because if that's the standard, there should be multiple penalty shots awarded every single week in the NHL.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yes. And like you said, I don't think in all my time watching the sport, and in the old days, it used to take an act of God to get a penalty shot, because you didn't have the shootout, and they were truly special. I don't think I've ever seen a guy come in from the side, though. Like you're right. He came in from the side and sort of positioned himself and then hooked or grabbed, and look, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
I got a question. So I believe the college rule is now, if there's a penalty shot awarded in college hockey, you can decline it and just take the penalty and be put on the power play. I'm almost positive that's correct. I tried to find this last night and I couldn't. I believe the rule in the National Hockey League is you can't decline it. You have to to take it. And here's my question. Why can't you decline it? Because the thing about it is, first of all, in the old days, the penalty shot, and this has gotten so skewed, the penalty shot was you have to basically go in and shoot the puck. You can't if you stop, it's over. If you probably could have dipsy doodled, but in 1985, none of those guys were doing this crap where they're like, but the thing too is this age, because
in 1985, you would have had guys coming off the bench to kill you for doing certain like stick handling moves.
And you would have bench. You're right, and you should have. But here's the thing that gets me is because of the shootout. I feel like, well, one, it's lost its luster, the entire penalty shot, but that's a fan thing.
Yeah.
But goalies are way more in tune now to practice this stuff, right? Because they have to be prepared for it.
Especially because there's a chance of a shootout every single game.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And then to top that off, Jackson Blake, Eden Prairie kid, might someday be a really good player, but he's a young guy still, right? Mm-hmm. So he just sort of lost the puck, dribbled off his stick. Now it damn near went in. Gustafsson got his pad back and blocked it. But the point is, why can't you decline it? I would have rather, it's the Wild. I would have rather had a power play. Like, it's one thing if your shootout specialist gets a penalty shot, okay, take it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm the Canes, look at the power play group that you would have sent out there. You know, they got Mikko Rantanen, Aho, Jarvis. You know,
Brent
I can go
Burns,
down. Yes,
Jacob Slavin. Yeah.
Why can't you decline it now? Like, to me, that seems like an obvious rule. And in that case, if I'm Rod the Bod Brindamore, I decline it.
And I'm thinking too, like situationally, at the end of games, why would you want to take that when maybe you're looking to just suffocate a game, just kill out a game? Do you want a penalty shot that takes 0 time off the clock? And, you know, maybe if you score, right, that's the dagger. But I would argue that for some teams, 2 minutes of just a man up, being able to pass around the perimeter, you're going to take 2 minutes off the clock closer to you potentially getting a win. I would probably opt for that. And the thing that's funny about this is I just mentioned how this never gets called correctly. Late night, surprisingly, I didn't stay up for this one. Canucks Sharks, Drew O'Connor gets awarded a penalty shot in overtime. He scores to win the game. So,
I got to go back and watch that.
I forgot that point as we started talking about this, but so 21 penalty shots awarded on the year now. Dave Jackson thinks that there should be like 50 plus already, which it's all an interpretation of the rule.
Right.
Situationally, I think you should be able to decline it. And why wouldn't you want to in certain points? Like that's a whole strategic aspect to it. If somebody takes you down blatantly, and this is where, I mean, this is never going to happen in the NHL, but I know my dad who coaches high school, they need a goal late or whatever. They'll pull the goalie, but then they'll also throw out 2 extra attackers. So it's like a 7-on-5, because a lot of the times the refs just don't see it. If they do see it, it's like, okay, you get a penalty shot. Well, okay, some teams might want to just say, no, okay, we're already up. We're just going to.
So he's throwing an extra man on the ice out?
Extra 2. So the goalie comes off and all of a sudden 2 come over. You would be surprised how many times refs don't see 7 skaters on the ice. It's
I would hope the National Hockey League guys would catch that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
not.
You would be surprised.
Yeah.
But yes, I think you're right. That should be the option for a lot of coaches, where I would rather just have, especially if they want to start calling it more often, which, you know, sure. I think
I don't want to see it more often, though. I see it.
You don't?
I hate the shootout. No, it's ruined. No. I used to be special. It used to be like this special treat where it's like, oh my God, a penalty shot. And again, the guy would skate straight in and try to score. Now they pull this BS where they're, you know, dipsy doodling in like they do. The shootout to me has ruined the penalty shot. And quite frankly, as a fan of hockey, I would rather see a high power, you know, if my choices are, God bless him, Jackson Blake, or that first line of Aho, Rantanen, and Jarvis, as a hockey fan, I'll take that Carolina power play. I'll take that. And look, if Aho gets pulled down, you know what? Then you probably just say, okay, cool. It's one of our best players. But the shootout has ruined the penalty shot for me, and all the crap now. You know, where you're coming in slow, and then you're going wide, and then you're going left and right. So no, I'm done with it. But as a coach, I would like the ability to just go on a power play.
Yeah.
Because you're right. If you're up, it's a decent little sequence of time that the puck is going to be largely yours. And if you're down, I would prefer that my top guns have that chance to tie or at least come back. A couple more things to get to before we are done here, but talk to me about a Swing Lab, because golf season's right around the corner, Age.
Yeah, Swing Lab, and also Valentine's Day is around the corner. So to the guys out there watching, first off, I'm sure a handful of you're welcome for the reminder right there. But also, Swing Lab is introducing a taste of the game, and at Swing Lab Performance Golf, it's a bi-weekly instruction-based workshop inviting lady golfers. So this makes for a good gift too, fellas, to interact and learn about the game that we all love with a distinctive twist. With PGA certified instruction, they have the opportunity to meet each player and help them discover clarity, success, and style in their games. Swing Lab is sure to improve play while making it a fun and enjoyable experience. Ladies will also enjoy 2 glasses of wine and instruction per session. Groups of 4 will get a discounted rate. And then if you think, okay, I got that gift for my girlfriend, my wife, they're going to come golfing with me now, I need to look better. They're also offering lessons at Swing Lab, and it's right around the corners. Golf season is, so get in there with the premier indoor golf facility at Swing Lab Performance Golf. They have PGA certified instructors to help with any golfer's game. They offer individual one-on-one lessons, group lessons if you want to get in there with your friend, a couple buddies of yours, 2 to 4 people with multiple different programs available. Check them out in Lakeville. Go online to swinglabperformancegolf.com or give them a call at 763-453-5892. That's 763-453-5892. Swing Lab Performance Golf.
Speaking of tasty, you got to sample some T-Rex cookies
in
studio. Now, I was not there. I was at home. I didn't get the phone call. So tell me, since I didn't get to try them, how were the cookies from T-Rex?
Yeah, brand new friend of the show, T-Rex Cookie. These guys offer half-pound and 5-pound cookies so that every bite is packed with flavor. They're located at 525 Diffley Road in Eagan, Minnesota. They have flavors like sea salt caramel chocolate chip, chocolate caramel chocolate chip, chocolate chip with caramel cookies and cream, peanut butter, Monster, so much more. Phone number you can get in touch with them is 651-345-5815, or give them a visit on their website at trexcookie.com. That's trexcookie.com. You can also find their cookies available at a lot of local grocery stores. I was just at Cup Foods the other day. They're located right there in the pastry section. Made sure to pick up one of those sea salt caramel chocolate chips. It sounds weird, like it's a lot of flavors going on there. Surprisingly, works really, really well.
I'm a big sea salt guy.
Yeah,
I like sea
like
salt.
A sea salt guy.
I like sea salt. Yes, I've got the good palate.
So yeah, T-Rex Cookie. That's trexcookie.com for more information where you can find a lot of their delicious half-pound and 5-pound cookies.
Okay, I've got one more thing, and then I do, because I was, as we talked about at the game, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the ESPN Plus telecast. But
okay,
can we please, because we damn near saw a tragedy last night, and this is so unnecessary. Can we please mandate neck guards? The Jackson Blake play where he stumbled and fell in front of the wild net, and Marcus Johansson is skating away, so it's the back of his boot. So like he can't see this. Mm-hmm. Jackson Blake stumbles and falls, and thank God, I believe his face shield collided with the back of the blade of Johansson's skate. That's how I saw it. Mm-hmm. The linesman saw it immediately and thought he got hit by the blade and started to signal the trainer. Thankfully, he didn't. He was fine. But that being said, God forbid, it's bad enough if that hits your face, it's terrible. If that hits your neck, it's potentially a tragedy. And here's my stance. I believe it was starting with like 1978. If you were drafted like after 78 or 79, it became mandatory to wear a helmet. Okay.
What a crazy innovation of technology.
Exactly. Then at some point, I don't know the year on this, but your draft class started to have to wear a visor. I think it was the 90s at some point. Okay, that's cool.
It was after that because Bogosian doesn't wear one.
Oh yeah, so 2000 something.
I want to say it was like 2010 2010 or 11 was the
call.
last year, because like Ryan O'Reilly still doesn't have one, so that's
Right.
fairly new. But yes, like we're still working to
Right.
get more safety. Yes,
But the neck guard, okay. First of all, yes, it might feel weird at first, but more and more of these players who are coming up have worn them their entire life until now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like we're not looking at a grizzled group of veterans. And the other thing is, I think it's really silly to protect people's eyes, essentially, which is great. But, God forbid, and it's happened, you take a sticker puck to the eye, you lose an eye. It is tragic. It ends your career, but it does not kill you. A skate blade to your neck, as we learned tragically with the kid, I think, that had played at Duluth in Europe last year or 2 years ago. I forget.
Yeah, in England, yeah.
England, it'll kill you.
Yeah.
So why can't we institute, like, to me, if you were to say, if I had kids, which I don't, and my son was playing in the National Hockey League, which would be a miracle considering the athletic talent of Dawn and myself. But if you were to say, hey, you know what, your kid might lose an eye or he might get cut in the neck by a skate blade, I'd be like, I'd prefer didn't get cut in the neck by a skate blade. So I'm just saying the visor, awesome. The helmet, clearly. But neck guard's got to be next, right? Because I saw that last night and I'm like, that could have been absolutely tragic. And you see the response of the official, and it's like, because he doesn't know.
Yeah. First off, good on the official for we're immediately calling play dead. I recognize this could be catastrophic.
Yes.
Let's stop. That's good. That's good on them. And honestly, if you would have brought this to me a year ago, even after the unfortunate tragedy over in England, I would have said, you know what? I think it's still kind of up to the player. Because, granted, when I grew up, as you can tell, I don't have much of a neck to begin with. So like back then, it was basically like neck braces. They would make you start the game with it, and I'd go out there for a face off, and I can't even look down. And did you drop? Oh, okay, we already started, and then I'm skating away, and then I'd rip it off. But the thing is, technology has changed. We've progressed as a society. They now have like Kevlar lined turtlenecks for base layers, and it seems like every hockey player nowadays wears a base layer.
Yep.
Maybe some of these super old guys don't, but like if you look at Kirill, if you look at Boldy, they are going to have some sort of base layer, I'm sure, to wick sweat away and whatnot. It's so easy to just have something that comes up to that very crucial area on your neck, where if you were to get a skate blade there, guess what? It's going to glance off. And you're probably going to forget about it in the heat of battle, in the heat of a game. You're not going to recognize that I have this turtleneck that's very thin, kind of pressed against my
Lauko wears it.
Yes, Lauko wears it, and I'm sure
it looks fine.
No, exactly. If anything, maybe it looks fashionable. Who knows? I don't have a fashion sense, but I would say that I think we're progressing towards where that probably gets brought up in some sort of meeting in the off season. And I'm sure there's going to be people that push back on it. Some guys probably are going to say, well, that's going to make, that's eventually going to lead everybody's going to have to wear bubbles and full cages. I don't know if we're ever going to get to that point.
The visor was the big one.
Yes, exactly.
And no one's wearing a full cage, a bubble now. So yeah, that's the thing. And I am not saying that it probably shouldn't be mandatory immediately for like veterans, unfortunately, but
grandfather it in.
Exactly. Bring it in. And nobody coming into the league now, I would guess, hasn't worn one.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to walk into the locker room and grab Bogosian and say, "Hey, you're wearing a neck." He's not going to want to, I'm sure, and that's fine if he wants to finish out his career without one. But for Dania Yurov, when he comes over, I'd sure put him in one. Aaron Kivaharyu, Zeev Buium when he comes up, sure, why not? It's better, I think, to have a discussion and put something in place that people might push back on, but ultimately probably will settle into, rather than a reactionary, oh my goodness, we just had a fatality, now we have to implement something. That looks a lot worse for the league, everybody involved. Be proactive about it. I think that's fine. And plus, for the people watching at home, we're not the ones playing the game. I'd rather the players, have a little more safety. Like it doesn't impact me at all.
Right. No. And to your most important point, the technology now is such that it's easy. It's not going to be a problem. The telecast was what? It was ESPN Plus and Hulu last night, right?
Yes.
Your thoughts?
My biggest thing, and this was late in the game, and maybe I am too stuck in my ways. Maybe I am just so used to what's normal and I don't like change.
You're an old soul.
But for the final 2.5, 3 minutes of the game, Judd, when the Canes were just zooming around the offensive zone, looking for that final goal to maybe push to overtime, would we have? It's silly to me to maybe expect the standard camera view from the side, the panoramic, what I'm used to, what every hockey game has been shot out for all of time. No, we can't have that. We're going to stick with the mounted camera behind the goal on the top of the glass that is controlled by somebody with a joystick. So it's jerky going around. And like, I'm not playing NHL 25 here. Like I'm not playing a game of hockey on my PlayStation. Show me the camera angle that I know you have spent thousands of dollars to have a camera that is professional, that can keep things high quality, that is smooth to operate, that has a human being at the helm, not this mounted one that shakes and vibrates every time a puck rattles off the glass beneath it. Yeah. It was insanity. And I get you're looking to probably change the broadcasting game.
It's the wrong time.
It's the wrong
exactly
time.
Right.
Do that in the middle of the second period when somebody's on the power play. I can probably get away with it. Not in the most crucial point of a 1-goal game. No, give me the standard, what everybody knows and loves. You use that for highlights. You use that for the replay of like, hey, watch this goal when Brent Burns shot it and there was a last second save, because that's a different perspective. That's not a in-game camera view that I want to see.
I don't mind it occasionally, like in the first period or something, but you don't do it at the end. You don't do it at the end. And it just, again, shows how much of a difference that there is in just the overall quality from start to finish, including pre and post from TNT. Like TNT is just so good. And ESPN, I don't know. And the numbers are terrible this season. I just saw it. The ratings are down. Now we could debate that, because I do think that the consumption of sports is very, like, the ratings in lots of ways are archaic. But that being said, and this is my thing too, can we all quit showing the Blackhawks? Like, you literally are getting evidence every time you show them. Bedard is a marvelous talent, but he's not a star yet.
Nope.
And every time you show them, it's like, oh, we got 15 people to tune in. I wonder why. It's because they suck.
I don't know if you saw this, but they had a nice little segment, just kind of, it was Paul Bissonnette, who I think a lot of people would say,
talk about this at some point. Yeah.
A lot of people would say he probably doesn't have the credibility or like his game to like criticize a player. I think Paul Bissonnette was spot on here, because he made a lot of really good points. Like, yes, Bedard is a gifted, talented player, but there's a lot of stuff he does that's like, this is not the OHL anymore. This is You're not playing juniors. You can't pull this off against 38-year-old men, like the best in the world. You have to change your game, and this is something you and I have talked about a lot. Like, why right now, if you told me I had to choose one for a franchise to start off with between Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini, I think I'd probably take Celebrini with zero hesitation. He is a stronger skater, body-wise. He is built, I think, for the NHL. He has a lot of the skill. Obviously, that Sharks team is just atrocious still, but similar to the Blackhawks, they are rebuilding, so they're going to be bad. You almost want them to be bad so you can get more prospects, so you can eventually make that surge. But you're seeing a lot more out of the guy who has less than 82 games than a guy who's in his second year now in the league, who continues to make a lot of very, very stupid mistakes at times. Somebody who is insanely gifted and talented. Don't get me wrong, for the sake of the league, I want him to correct that. Even though he's playing for the Blackhawks and everything, it would suck to have him torment the Wild for 15 years in a row. Right. But for the league's sake, they deserve him to fix these so that he can be a Crosby, a McDavid, who just bewilders and wows people on a nightly basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We are done here. I think we'll probably be back on Monday to recap the Islanders game, and also Four Nations face-off is coming up. Who's going to get hurt? Who's going to miss substantial time? What team is going to be impacted for the playoffs because of this tournament? We'll talk about that. AJ, I'm Judd. Thanks for watching.